Good day, viewers all over the world. Once again, I welcome you to the program Politics in Africa. And the point of call today is Kogi State in West Africa, Nigeria. And the topic of discussion today is the position of Igala-Bassa ethnic nationality in Nigerian national politics. My guests on the program don't need another long introduction, but because of some of you that will be watching for the first time, some of you might be meeting him for the first time. He is a banker, an economist, and a public analyst. Dr. Victor Aleo Adoji is the guest on the program. Good day, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And once again, I formally welcome you to Politics in Africa on USTV Africa.
My pleasure, sir.
How are you doing today, sir?
Wonderful.
It's been a while. I have been on search, and I was told that you've been out of the country for a while.
I'm to go and look for small player.
You are welcome, sir. It's a pleasure having you on board today.
Thank you.
Talking about Igala ethnic nationality, you are not just an Igala man, but a stakeholder in Igala-Bassa race. And because of your role as a one-time volunteer in the classroom, your role in politics and Igala social-cultural activities, it's suffice to say that you are one of the Igala-Bassa leaders. As a leader of the people, what would you say is the major leadership challenge of the Igala-Bassa people?
I think when you say the major leadership challenge, you restrict me to just one. But it's almost impossible for you to just have one, because you can have one that has a downward relationship with about one or two other issues. I think the major, I would say, leadership challenge you have in Igala land is the diet of qualitative and responsible leadership. So the diet of qualitative and responsible leadership, and that in itself is a problem of the lack of a robust leadership succession infrastructure. Because you need to ask yourself, this product or this outcome, which you refer to as leaders or leadership, what is the production line that evolved them? You know?
How are the leaders produced?
Exactly.
How they emerge as leaders?
Exactly. So a leader that emerged out of a fractured process, a leader that emerged selectively out of an elective process, and then a leader that foisted himself on people can't be said to fit the bill of leadership in terms of the dimension of institutionalized leaders. So you have people who pretend to be leaders on account of the office they occupy, but not because they carry a vision for the people and of the people.
So will you say that the recruitment process of leadership is the problem of the Igala-Bassa people?
Main problem of the Igala-Bassa people, yes.
All right. Another thing that I would want you to look at within the Igala-Bassa people is that over the period of time, the Igala-Bassa people have proven that they are united people. They did that in the repeated elections. They come out en masse to vote for whoever they decide to vote for. They show their unity, that they are truly united as a people. But evidence have shown on repeated occasions that the Igala-Bassa people are united, but the Igala-Bassa elites are so divided among themselves that this division and clash of interest among the elites have so much impacted on the Igala-Bassa people negatively. For instance, at the time it was Alhaji Chocho and Igbo on a very long political leadership succession tussle. At another time it was Captain Idris Wada and Alhaji Chocho on another very long one. It's either this leader or that leader, and what I leave as this was that, Alex was this, Audu was Igbo, this was that. The elites have been so divided among themselves, and this division is having negative impact on the Igala-Bassa people. As a leader of the people, what will you say is the way out for this class of interest among the elites that is touching negatively on the Igala-Bassa people?
You see, first and foremost, a very good captain, that's a ship captain, is tested in storms and not calm waters. So if you want to know how good a captain is, you don't say, oh, he's been able to move the ship from point A to point B. But you need to be able to tell you how many storms he was able to meander in the course of that, that journey. What that means therefore is your claim of the Igala-Bassa, people as united, is actually faulty and at best sitting on a shaky foundation. Now, you don't say people are united when you have not tested them intra. You actually try to make reference to what happened last year, the last year's election. It was an inter-election and not an intra-election. It was what the Igalas erroneously, saw as, one ethnic nationality fighting against the other. So everybody had to rally around their own ethnic nationality. It's just like when Nigeria plays against any country. You may not like the players on the pitch, but because your country is playing, irrespective of the selection process, irrespective of what happened, oh, you want to come behind Nigeria because you want to be seen as patriotic. That's actually what happened. You test the veracity of the unity of people when it is intra. When it becomes elections amongst ourselves,
Between an Igala
and an Igala man, some salient, sensitive underpinnings come into play that most people don't know. Clannishness comes in. Religion comes in that people don't even say.
Religion come in.
Seriously. The regional district agenda come into play. All those things are there. And until we are able to go above those sentiments, then we will not have the right cast, the right quality of leadership that we now talk about. Now, coming down to the issue where you're trying to mention this conjecturing, posturing between one person and the other. My brother, there's an industry in Igala that is thriving. It's called false witnessing, buck passing, and wordsmithing industry. You see, there are, especially, it started from our forebears, people who are older than us, who will only benefit from causing, hiatus or schism or fracas or trouble between two people who are imminent. Oh, these belong to AIO family. These belong to Ilyasu family. And the two of them begin to, try to massage the egos of these two combatants. And from there, they begin to feed themselves until another election year. But you see the speed with which they cross carpet, whenever this person is not offering them substance anymore. So that industry must be killed. And how do you kill the industry? When people who support AIO goes to tell Ilyasu that this is what bring them to the table, it's a very, very terrible industry. And this is the only enclave that I know where they rechristen people. Your father gives birth to your parents, give birth to you, and they give you name Victor. And somebody says, all sorts of names. And under that, there is one terrible psychological defect that we have in Ghana land, is that sense of entitlement.
Sense of entitlement.
Yes, you are not entitled to anybody's resources. He gives to you as he wills. And then he can benefit from the blessing therefrom. But it is not your entitlement that somebody must part with his resources because he's an Igala or you're an Igala. No, you are not entitled. So those sentiments will have to be wiped out.
That's what baited the idea of who he helped.
Who you help.
What can he offer?
Meanwhile, I told a youth some time ago, I said, you who is saying who you help. When I was a copper, I left Jos to come to Igala land and teach when I had no money. Austin Okaye was my student. Joel Minister was my student. Your friend, this one in Lokoja, was my student. A minister was my. So I taught in a Muslim high school, taught in Israeli organization, taught in a commercial, taught in a community. But I taught when I didn't have resources to give. I applied myself. So when you say who you help and somebody who's a copper seeking job, you should know that I have crossed the boundary that you are just about to cross. You can help somebody, it does not have to do with parting pecuniary resources only. Who you help when is actually self-indicting. You are saying who you help somebody who is in a professional environment, has not maybe given jobs or a few jobs, but yet, as a copper, you are everywhere looking for jobs, but not going to apply yourself like I did up to about 35 years ago.
Okay, because of time, I would want us to touch on the main issues affecting Igala-Bassa people. If you take a holistic look at Nigeria, every ethnic group have their own political ideology. Among the Hausas, for instance, they have Namu. So that at worst, they rally around their own. As a leader of Igala-Bassa people, what would you say is the political ideology of Igala-Bassa people?
Except you want me to lie to you. If we had an ideology, we'll have moved from step point one to point B, even point two. The only ideology that I see exists is what you may refer to as momentary, eclipsing, perpetually existing personal ideology. You know, it's about who is the person who wants to go at that point, and his interest determines that ideology. I'll give you an example to show that. Some 40, 50 years back, a people came together and said they cannot continue to be playing minority in a climb where they are supposed to be majority. And they decided they were going to take over power, but take it over systematically, not political power. They were going to take what they refer to as power of perception and power of industry. They went into banking, went into oil business, and went into communication. As I speak to you today, the owner of This Day is from Old Bendel. The owner of Vanguard is from Old Bendel. The owner of Business Day is from Old Bendel. Now, the owner of AIT is from Old Bendel. The owner of Channels is from Old Bendel. The owner of Alliance is from Old Bendel. The owner of Zenith Bank is from Old Bendel. The owner of UBA is from Old Bendel. The owner of not Access Bank, but partly from Old Bendel, because they decided and they were supported. So that is how ideology moves. When we have a set of people who believe in the corn ideology, by January, June. So let's learn to plant palm trees in terms of ideology and outcomes.
Cocoa, rubber.
Exactly. That to me is an ideology. But here you have people who, to a large extent, if even the ideology exists, the truth of the issue is religious ideologies. Because what you see politicians say behind closed doors is not what they say outside. You cannot support this person because it's from social and social religion. It still exists among Igala people, and it's shameful and disgraceful.
So in a nutshell, you are in a summary saying that we don't have political ideology.
I'm willing to be educated, but I don't see any.
Okay. In reference or in connection to what you said earlier, we've had people come, Igala-Bassa people come together for political agendas. When it is time for politics, that's when we realize that we need to be united behind our own. But there have never been a time, as much as I know, where Igala people come to unite themselves to do economic agenda, educational agenda, security agenda. Currently, as I talk to you, less than 12 hours ago, a bus loaded with passenger was, attacked along Ochadam, between Ochadam and Obakwedo, and the 18 passengers on the bus are yet to be accounted for by kidnappers. Same thing, you can't go through Ejule, Aloma safely. You can't, but no part of Igala land is secured for now. Why is it that we seem to be united and talk about politics more than any other sector of life, especially security? We had what happened in Oganedugu, in Abejugo. In fact, security is a challenge. Don't you think that Igala-Bassa people should do security agenda for the safety and protection of life and property of Igala-Bassa people?
Yes, TV.
Sorry.
25 years ago, if I visited you, let's say 25 years ago, chances are that if you bring your food, give me food, well prepared, I will eat and thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah? If I visit you today and you give me well prepared food, do you think I will eat it?
You think twice.
And I may not even eat it.
Is this food safe at all?
What has changed?
Tell me, sir.
Hatred and suspicion, and the rabid longing for materialism has changed our humanity. Now, these kidnappers are not Fulani people. In large part, they are not Fulani. I would not believe that from Itobe to Okabo, then from Ejule all the way to Aloma, that all these are Fulanis. No.
On the occasions where those people have been arrested, we find no Fulani men among them.
So, which means I am justifiable to say that they are mostly not Fulani people.
They are from within.
Thank you. So, what has happened is, let me explain exactly. It's actually the shifting of forces. Most of our people left farming for politics. either at the level of councillorship, chairmanship, house of, they left farming for politics. Because some people say, what I get in one farming season, this person gets in just 1 month in office. So they left farming for politics. Now, the power position in politics shifted by reason of Abubakar Alu's death to the central and elsewhere. So they are not making those benefits anymore. And mind you, some of these people have been so empowered by politicians who gave them arms, machetes, and maybe connections. And even protection. Now, these politicians, either on account of the fact that they are not in office, or on account of the fact that the economy is not smiling at them, cannot fund them anymore. And they are used to a particular level of spending that they must meet.
And they are still in possession of the arm.
So what they need to do is to actually go to the next lucrative business in the land. Kidnapping is very lucrative. I was telling somebody earlier that under the auspices of the rational economic choice theory, it simply says that if there are two projects and this one gives you more money with less effort, and this one gives you little money with plenty of effort, which one will you do?
The one with much.
Let me ask you, keep morality aside. Between farming and kidnapping, which one will you do? I said keep morality aside. As an economist.
Kidnapping, of course, because it's easy and richy.
And when there are no punishments for reprobates, malevolence, disregard, disrespect will continue. None of them is punished. I even hear that even the police people are involved. They get kickbacks, national rulers are involved. So it's lucrative. How can you say the entire stretch, kidnappings day in, day out, and nobody has been arrested? Even when you arrest them, they will go and come back. People cannot even give witness anymore because they know those who are doing this stuff. But when you give witness, it is the same police people that will actually throw you out there.
But sir, at the end of every political years, we have our generals deploy army in, our soldiers using their police officers using their connection to bring police in for election and all of that. Igala-Bassa people putting resources together to finance election. Why are our generals serving and retired, police officers serving and retired, and all those people silent in the face of the security challenge? If they can do that for election, why are they not doing the same for security? Life and property of Igala-Bassa people.
Oga, your claim is wrong. I ran for office 2 times, and I never saw any general who mobilized the nature of the police to come and protect votes. I've not.
I don't want to mention them, but I know those in the Army, Air Force, Navy that use their connection to deploy army in for election.
Maybe
even in the police too.
Maybe for an election. But I'm telling you that I'm in a better position to know than you are that it has never been done. Maybe for an election. Maybe you're talking about election that just passed. I've contested twice, it never happened.
And I'm telling you on a good authority that let's put even the general and the police aside. You are aware that Igala people put resources together for the 2023 election in the name of Igala.
I contested the election in 2023. I didn't see the resources from anybody.
I'm telling you this.
You cannot tell me somebody is supposed to be a beneficiary.
And I'm telling you as an insider, the point here is this, sir.
I am the inside, you are the insider. I say it's not possible. I didn't see the resources. I contested the elections.
Okay, fine.
Let me tell you, in the central, the elites gathered money and gave to the candidate. In the west, they did it. Nobody gave me a brass farthing. So I'm telling you, it is wrong.
I'm limiting this discussion because I don't want to mention them that so amount of money was contributed for candidate, this or that. But I am aware that resources, money, huge sum of money were put together by Igala sons and daughters across the world. Okay, so am I right to say that some of those resources were put together against me because I ran for the office and I didn't see it? I don't want to go into that, but the point here is our generals silent in the face of the security challenge.
Well, you see, I am not a general, and
how about the elites?
Well, the elites are not silent. The elites are not silent.
They have done enough.
Well, it depends on what you mean by enough. It depends on what you mean by enough. The elites are not silent. They are doing the best they can to the degree of their ability. Take example, Dr. Simon Eyogu. That young man is literally living his life for the entire Igala land.
I agree with you.
A medical doctor is either in the forest, is either in the bush, begging from house to house.
I agree with you 100%.
Okay, and then he is not acting alone. He's acting under the auspices of a number of Igala elites. So what you are saying in terms of Yugu is what a number of people are doing outside. So You see him dancing out there, people beating the drums are behind. So they are doing the best that they can. And these are trying times for families. You cannot use your children's school fees or your feeding money to go and do security for the homeland for a situation that can be mitigated by the government of the day. So people are doing their best. Now, secondly, a sitting general, or even a sitting military officer has a limit to what he or she can do. They take orders. There's a limit. So if the highest they can do is to speak to their superior authorities, and when they don't oblige, there is nothing that you can do. So they have their limitations.
Okay, on the final note, before we conclude on this, Igala-Bassa ethnic nationality in terms of politics seems to be narrowed or limited to the local politics. What I mean by being narrow or limited is the highest you hear of Igala-Bassa people talk about is governorship and politics within the state. Very few, meager number of them seems to show interest in national politics. So as it stands today, you discover that in the party structure of the two major political parties, APC, PDP, and the rest, we have, in fact, I don't think we have any Igala person in the national structure. Why is it that Igala-Bassa people seems not to be so interested in national politics like they do for local politics, if I may say?
You see, engagement at the national or international level is assimilative. Assimilative to the extent that once you do from the grassroots, you come to the state assimilates you to the national. But because of the way these so-called leaders evolve, once they see competition, they become timid, they become afraid, and they now begin to realize their frailties and incapabilities. So when they call, people to be...
Will I be proper in what Igala person will say?
Exactly, sir.
My father is only strong when it comes to...
Exactly, sir. You have members of your parliament in the National Assembly. I see when people engage, I've not heard those from here. So when they go there and they see quality of representation, they rather help them to carry bags because they are not able to compete. So if you have the right people in the right places, naturally they'll be assimilated. And one thing is that when they go there, they become very, very, how do I put it, repugnant, to helping people climb up, because they think, if it comes down, you actually overshadow me and climb up. So it has to do with assimilation to the upstairs, and because you don't have the quality for it to be assimilated, then you just stagnate on account of your timidity. But then things are changing and times are changing, and I just know it's just a matter of time before we begin to reclaim our place of glory. When the likes of Alex Kadiri of late blessed memory, the likes of Ubane, the likes of Amodo Ali, the likes of even Adukon was Ashcon, we're at the national level. You heard voices, But this time around, people are more happy with going to the office of a colleague, House of Reps member, or a colleague senator, and begging for one or two solar lights, and coming to give people and say, you have achieved. Let me put on record that it is not the work of a senator or House of Reps member to supply solar lights, or to paint primary schools, or to fix culverts. They are doing that because the local government tree system has been destroyed. Your work is to make laws. Your work is to bring...
to be seen as oversight functions.
No. Let me explain what oversight means, sir. If you are a senator and a House of Reps member, you are oversighting the federal government, sir. The House of Assembly oversights the state, and the council oversights the local government. So when you say you are doing oversight, you are coming to be put as oversight, what? Under the auspices of a failed structure called constituency project? No, let local governments work. We usually have the adagers of this world, the barrister, this one that was Joshua, we have the adager. We saw what they do as local government chairman. Of course, what they do as local government chairman. You see, the reason why poverty is still lingering is because resources have stagnated at the state level. But once you have, 12 communities are now at the verge of extinction in Abejikolo. I mean, yeah. I did not know until about last week. You can imagine if we had the tier 3 system that was functional, the councillor would have brought it to the council, the chairman would have been called and to have been escalated. 7 communities are becoming extinct. Oyedega has been threatened, as it were, in Ibaji, but nobody knows all that because that system is destroyed. And you have a senator, a House of Rep member, who will come and tell you he's supplying rice. Do I look like somebody who is a farmer? While that is good, under the auspices of palliatives, the highest that should be involved is get one of your aides to go and do that. Your business is to make laws and to bring the federal attention to your constituency. Before you say a word more, we have the Bagana Bridge that is waiting for attention. We have the one, Sharia Bridge, Shintako, and we have the one across the water body. Yeah. That is what I think at the National Assembly, the National Rep should actually focus on. You force the federal government by any means possible, and once they open these 3 axes, the human and vehicular traffic alone can touch down up to about 3 billion in this region within a month. So if that happens within a month, 3 by 12, we are talking about 36 billion. You know, the spin-off effect will definitely positively impact people around here. Another thing I was asked some time ago, what is the GDP of Kogi East?
I don't know.
What is the IGR of Kogi East?
Oh, I'm not in that.
And for our international audience, because you said international the last time, diaspora remittance to Nigeria in 2022-23 was about 19.6 billion USD. How much of it came to Kogi State and how much of it came to Kogi East? I'm trying to point out that we have all been failures and noisemakers. But the time has come for us to begin to work together so we can push in one direction or pull in one direction. Otherwise, progress will still be a mirage in this part of the world.
Conclusively, sir, if you take a careful look at the Igala-Bassa people, we seem to be collectively strong. I'm individually strong. If you go to the banking sector, Dr. Victor Alewadoji. You come to the military sector, General Dan, Inspector. This will have individuals that are giants in their respective fields. But collectively, the impact is little or not at all visible. What would be your conclusive advice for the Igala-Bassa people to put these resources together? If you are a giant general, if you are a giant banker, Okanya Namali is a big name in the communication industry, like that. How do we put all these names and the efforts together to progress and to the advantage of the Igala-Bassa ethnic nationality?
It's a failure of the center. And the center here, I mean the traditional institution. For those of you of the Muslim faith, you have 4 wives and 18 children. And there is peace, there is tranquility, there is social progress, and there is development. How do you come about it? However, there are some other families where you have 1 husband, 4 wives, 18 children, and it's like a war zone. So this person succeeds because of his leadership quality in terms of uniting different interests. And this person fails just because he's doing the opposite. For the same reason, I'll tell you a little story. 2 children were asked, a set of twins were asked. Their father died because he was a drunk. And then one of them went ahead and became a doctor. And the other one became a drunk. And they asked the 2 of them at different times, why did you end up a drunk? He said, because my father was a drunk. And when they asked the doctor, why did you end up a doctor? He said, because my father was a drunk. So the reason is different, but the dimension with which you define the reason is actually a different kettle of fish. Here in Igala land, we compete and not collaborate. Here in Igala land, we circumvent and not support. Here in Igala land, we do so much talking and less action. Here in Igala land, the interest of a human being is not known until you hear the second interest. There is total and utter failure of our traditional system, and something has to be done about that. They should stop stealing ballot boxes for politicians. They should stop. Because once you bring partisanship to an institution that should otherwise be neutral, then you destroy commonality and you destroy communion. That is what we are facing as it is.
Our sociocultural organizations, what do you think they should do in this? Igala this, Igala that, Igala this, Igala-Bassa this, Igala-Bassa. What do you think they should do?
Well, you see, they say the more the merrier. But I will want them I want there for them to agenda competition and conflict. So it's not the problem of the number of associations, organizations. It is the premise for their existence. So if Iliasu sings seven boreholes and association, AIO should be angry that Iliasu has done six. You should go and do seven. Let's compete on durable deliverables, and not on the person that will support one politician to be in office tomorrow or the more. Most of them are just waiting to see which politician they will support and to endorse, and that is the reason why, it's actually mostly like dead on arrival. We should compete on positive deliverables and not interest, that cannot take you from one breath to the next breath.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure having you on the program, and I hope to have you again on another edition of this program like this, where we can talk more about politics in Africa with specific reference to Kobe State and Kobe East. Thank you very much. Viewers, here we draw the curtains on the program, the curtain on the program, the politics in Africa, and the guest on the program which we here is Dr. Victor Adeo Adochi, like I told you earlier, a public analyst, a banker, and a community leader. Yes, even outside his professional activities, he feels always at home with his people in the community. I hope you enjoy watching this program, and thank you for being with us. See you again on another edition of Politics in Africa. My name is Bonejo John from the session of USTV Africa, the voice of the new Africa. Thank you.
USTV, Unity Star Television, always ahead.